Hi everyone, Michelle here. Um, I am getting ready today and I thought I'd bring you all along and just to share a bit about my week today. Um, I've had a bit of a complex week uh, trying to decide whether to keep my daughter in her current school or to switch schools. So I wanted to share a bit about what I found and things you might want to consider if you want to move to Ghana, and also if you want to like put your child in the school as opposed to homeschooling them, which I think is an option for a lot of people, but not for me. We all have our strengths. Homeschooling is not a goal for me. Um, if I could have somebody come over and homeschool her, that would be great. But then I feel like she misses out on a lot of the social aspects of being in a school and with other students. And just, yeah, she's an only child. So I don't really know how that would work. But I put her in a school when they lifted the lockdown on schools. And so far, my experience has been okay. But I think what I want to focus more on is what I found while doing research. So, okay, I'm going to be looking for a lot of my things. And also, let me put this out there. I'm not a makeup, well, clearly, I'm not a makeup guru person. I use what works for me and techniques that work for me. Yeah. I also don't, yeah, anyway, there's that. Um, yes, I use a toothbrush for my eyebrows because nothing works better. There we go. All right. So, I think last week, well, okay, let's skip back all the way to, when was that? January is when school reopened. And I just felt so bombarded with so much information when doing research. I wish I had a mirror, but I guess this will do. When doing research, because I live in Kwabinya and there are some good schools here, but I am the kind of person who would rather have a referral because, yeah, how do you really know what a good school is? Like, what are the questions you ask? Like, what does that look like? I think from a lot of the locals that I've asked, locals, like I'm not a local, a lot of the people in my neighborhood that I've asked, whenever they referred me to a school and I went to see it, I was not impressed. There's a woman who owns a shop. I think she's an older woman who had migrated to America and is now back and retired, and her granddaughter goes to a school in my neighborhood, and she's been raving about how great it is. Oh, let me know when you're ready, I'll take you. And that's pretty much a normal thing here in Ghana. People will really hold your hand through things, and I love that about my people. So she took me, and it was the most sterile environment. I think they go from like nursery school all the way to like primary school. So let's say middle school. Well, I don't know if we could say middle school, but primary school. My child is 2.5, so I'll learn the name when I get there. Yes, and I found it to be the most sterile environment. So of course there's COVID, so we couldn't go in and see everything, but outside, which I think is a very integral part of, you know, I guess education for nursery kids, you know, outdoor play and things like that. They didn't have like a playground or anything, which is fine, I guess. But I think what stood out to me the most is the fact that they place more emphasis on just staying in line. And it reminded me a lot of like, you know, what the missionaries came to do in this country. And you'll find that a lot of schools are still keeping within that same structure that they brought, the same routine. And I think it was when they told me that like the person who came to greet us and tell us about the school, first of all, he came out and he's like, oh, you're here to make inquiries, here you go, and just gave me like the price list, and I'm like, okay, that's nice, but I have a few questions, like what is your curriculum, and things like that. What do you emphasize? What are your core values? Is it faith-based? So I'll give you the answer to those questions that I asked. So the curriculum, he said that right now they're pretty much, let's say 80% of the Ghanaian educational system curriculum, but are they were very excited to transfer maybe within the next half year into the British system. And let me elaborate on that. Finding a school here has been very difficult because, let's say, where I came from in the States, you know what the curriculum is going to be for the most part, right? Maybe there might be a little bit more razzle-dazzle in this school versus that school, but you have a fair idea of what the curriculum might be. You can Google it, you can do your research, and it's not that difficult. You know what you're getting. But over here, everyone chooses whatever curriculum they want. There are some schools who pride themselves on following the British education system. Others, the American education system. Others are Montessori. All kinds of names that I'd never heard of until going down this journey of trying to find a school. So yes, he said that soon they'll be transferring to the British education system, and he's really excited about that. I guess everybody's excited about that. What was the next question? What are their core values? What I got from their core values is that he placed more emphasis on pretty much having everyone be respectful and clean and neat, which, I mean, my child is 2. If she goes to school and she comes back with clean clothes, I'm suspicious. So, that is not, like, if maybe you're watching this and you're looking to take your kid to a school and that is important to you, then that would be a school for you. Email me and I'll send you their information if you're in the Quabinia area. But yeah, that's not important to me. And he placed emphasis on the fact that they do get different uniforms, so he said that they make sure that your child leaves the same way they came in, and are respectful, and that they respect the elders, and even said that when the students come in, he goes and stands there and sees who greets him and who doesn't, and that the young girls are not allowed to have beads in their hair or any kind of different hairstyles, but everybody has the straight backs, like the type that we put under our wigs, or the prison cornrows. I found that to be interesting, because the greeting thing, I found that to be really interesting, because I feel like people who put themselves in that position, like, I don't want to put my child in your care, because it's more about you than it is about them, and it really screams like power hungry, or like it just screams like weird power dynamics. And my child is a human, and just like me, although we're in this country where greeting is really, really important, sometimes I just don't feel like it. Sometimes I'm just not in the mood. And yeah, you might not get a good evening or good morning, good afternoon from me. And because that's who I am, I'm expecting that my child is going to mimic that same thing. Not that it's cool, but I'm just saying it is what it is. The final question that I asked was if it's a faith-based school, because as soon as we went in, the bulletin board had like a scripture on it, so I had to ask. Not that there's anything wrong with faith-based schools, but I find that sometimes it takes over more of the curriculum. I've been to Catholic school my whole life, so that's where I'm speaking from. Of course, granted, it was in the States, but when I got to college, I realized that there are other things I could have been learning, but I had to take religion class and get a grade for that. Yeah, so he said, no, it's not faith-based, but children must know that there's a God and higher power and this is that. And I said, okay. Not that there's anything wrong with that if, you know, you're interested in that, but I feel like really she's 2. What she must know is if you need to go to the potty, you need to sit on the potty. What she must know is, you know, how to develop her, you know, her fine motor skills, or, you know, count to 100. Like, those are my priorities. And, you know, everybody's priorities for educating their children are different. So that was my experience with that school. So I think a few days ago, I forgot I was doing my makeup. A few days ago, I started to do some research because the school term is coming to an end. They're going on Easter break, and the school that my daughter is currently at, actually, let me tell you how I got to that school. I just became a bit overwhelmed. It just seemed like one day the president's on TV saying no school for like 100 years. And then another day the president's on TV like, oh yeah, you can go to school tomorrow. And I'm like, tomorrow? I don't have a school lined up. Oh my gosh, I thought we were going to stay home till March. I legit thought they were staying home till March. So I was more focused on like finding help, like home help, like maybe some support, like by way of a nanny or something, rather than a school. I should have brought a mirror. Anyway, yeah, so president's like, hey guys, you can go back to school now. And my daughter really enjoys learning. She's very bright and she's like a sponge. She's soaking up everything. So I want to put her in the environment where she can feel free to do that. Because like I said, I'm not an educator, and the things that I can teach her, I would definitely teach her, but it's not the academic stuff. That's equally as important as what I have to teach her, but you know, that's why you have a village. Your educators are also part of your village. Anyway, so I was a bit overwhelmed with how fast everything was approaching and just not knowing where to look. And I live fairly close to Westlands, and they have some good schools apparently, but I couldn't get any referrals or recommendations. So that was a bit difficult for me, like to choose. And I remembered, I think when we first moved here, when we first moved back here, I think when Maggie was about a year and a half, I wanted to put her in a very prestigious school here. I won't mention their names, but I wanted to put her in that school. My dad wanted her to be in that school, and I'm like, all right, Grandpa, if you paying, she will go to whatever school you want. And also, I feel like I'm all over the place, so bear with me because there's a lot of information that I have to share with you on. A lot is still coming in. The thing about schools in Ghana is your school determines your network. And then, of course, your network, as we know, is your net worth. And it all begins at a very, very young age. So wherever you start, even nursery school, primary school, it all matters because these are the connections that you're going to maintain for the rest of your life. These are the connections that are going to get you jobs, that are going to get you, I don't know, find you a future spouse, or like a lot is riding on it. Hence my anxiety. So my dad wanted her to go to this like super prestigious school. I, filled out the form and they have to do an interview. So of course it was COVID time. Yes, it was COVID time. So they did it was during lockdown. So we did like a Skype interview, and turns out I was late. People put their children on these lists when they're pregnant or as soon as their child is born. So if you find yourself like me with a 1.5-year-old trying to get them enrolled, then you're going to have a very difficult time because it's packed already. So yeah, we had the interview, and she was telling me that, I could put you down and you pay this fee, this application fee, which was like $100 for the application fee. Speaking of fees, I'm gonna get into fees with you guys. Anyway, so I asked her, okay, are there any schools that you would recommend that she go to in the meantime? Like, which schools do you usually select students from, if not from like the very, if you're selecting from year one as opposed to nursery or crèche, which is crèche is like daycare. And I think some places take crèche students as young as 3 months. This is I gotta focus on this one. Oh, whoa, that's pretty big. Anyway, I'll fix it. Yes, as young as 3 months. So I asked her, and she'd mentioned a couple of the names or whatever, and I was writing them down. So cut to January 2021, where I'm like feeling dizzy looking at schools, like which school, oh my gosh, I feel like I don't have enough time to go here or there. Also, I didn't have a nanny at the time, so I was like really at my wit's end, like how and when do I go look at a school? And I have a very spirited 2-year-old, like how is this gonna work? So I figured everything out, and I Googled, okay, best nursery schools in Ghana, because that's the point I was at. And then one of the names popped up. One of the names that the schools that she listed popped up, and I was like, oh, okay. So I Googled, okay, what's the distance? And it said it was like 28 minutes or away. So I was like, that's doable. I Googled that in like the evening when there's no traffic. So I called the school, and they're like, oh, we're having an open house. I'm like, open house? I like schools that do open houses. Heard you. And they like ran through their COVID protocols and how they're moving forward and about the school and things like that. And I liked the environment. It was like really nice. And they had like a STEM center. They had all kinds of things that I wanted my child to partake in and participate in. So I was like, all right, she's going to school here, period. And also what I liked is that it was multicultural. Because I want her to understand that there are different kinds of people in the world, like just be in this environment, and that'd be cool. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. That'll be another story for my Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's Konadu, KONADU .Michelle, MICHELLE. That's me on Instagram. Anyway, back to the story and back to my makeup. So yeah, this really prestigious school, you need to register your child like as soon as they're born. As soon as they pop out, you just gotta be on the line with them, filling out the application or whatever. I didn't do that. I got here at 1.5 years. I'm like, oh yeah, we have time. I mean, she's not 2 yet, so when she's 2, she'll definitely go there. It's a shoo-in, but it was not a shoo-in at all. So I ended up not putting her on that list because she's in a school where she'll be, she's in a school that the admissions person herself said that they select from. So I felt like, okay, we're good. Anyway, so I had a bit of like challenges with the new school. They use an app, which I guess is cool for people who like that. But I found it a bit challenging, and I've since spoken with them about it. So I'm deciding whether or not to go back or to just go back to like what I know, which is like face-to-face parenting or like a communication book. Like, what happened to communication books? Anyway, so during my research, I looked up some schools because I found myself in a position where I had to plan for my child's whole educational future in the span of like 1 day or 1 week. Well, really, I didn't have to do it like that soon, but pressures that you put on yourself. So yeah, I looked up the international schools, the IB schools, because in the event that she wanted to go to school outside, which is like, outside of Ghana, I wanted her to be able to compete with her peers and things, and to actually be able to get into a good school. But then my cousin, we'll call him my brother, mentioned that, well, he brought to my attention that I am setting up my child's education in a way that will prepare her to go back to the same place that I'm trying to escape from, and I wasn't ready to hear that. I wasn't ready to hear that at all. Yeah, I was just like, well, drag me then. Anyway, during my research in finding an IB school, I found that there are only 8 of them in Ghana, really. Was it 8? Okay, so if you're in Ghana and you see schools, you see that every school is an international school. But according to that list, is maybe 1% of all these international schools that are actually international schools, meaning they're IB schools. Yeah. So that was very confusing, but not surprising because it's a thing. I think oftentimes here, someone will say it's a good school, and this is based on my experience, will say, oh, this is a good school based on the uniform that they wear and how cute it looks, or like the way that they've painted their school buildings. So that is, yeah, something to consider. One of the IB schools that I did look at, they teach, I feel like the more information I give, the more like obvious it is who I'm talking about. Anyway, they teach Arabic and Chinese. So I went to a co-working space, and one of the women there picked up her daughter in the middle of, like, I guess whatever work she was doing. So I asked her, I was like, oh, is this your daughter? She said yes. I asked her, oh, what school did she go to? She mentioned the name. And I was like, oh, do you like it? She's like, no, I said, is it a good school? She's like, it better be for all the money I'm paying. And I'm like, okay. And a lot of these schools, they list their tuition fees in dollars. So that's something to keep in mind. So anyway, so yeah, there's that. They do list their tuition fees in dollars. So I was having a conversation with her, and she said that they teach the kids Arabic and Chinese, which isn't really surprising because we have a huge population of both, and it is basically an Arabic school. But I figured, you're in Ghana, so hey, let me try it out. Let me go do my research. So I put them on my list. So yesterday I'm like doing my Googles, and I look up this very same school that teaches the kids Arabic and Chinese, which I found more valuable over the school that teaches, the bilingual school here that teaches in French and English, because where are we going with French? No offense, but like, based on how the world is turning, Chinese would be very valuable for a child to learn. Yeah, I wasn't really sure where we were gonna go with French, or how far we go with French. But anyway, so yes, so I go on the Arabic school's website, and I guess they have a picture on their front page of their graduating class. And okay, it's one Ghanaian person. One Ghanaian person in their whole graduating class. One. I'm in Ghana. I'm in Accra. And there's only one student of Ghanaian. I'm guessing she's Ghanaian because that's just a guess. A wild guess. I could be wrong, but I'm just going to assume she's Ghanaian. But there was only one. And everyone was non-Ghanaian. I was a bit taken aback by that because I was just like, wait, what? But then again, there's a school in Accra that I won't name because I won't name them. But if you do want all the deets, email me. Yeah, maybe I'll do like a newsletter where I can like really share with you guys, because on such a public platform like this, like the Ghanaians say, "Imre done it, times change." So you don't want to have said something somewhere and then you'll be faced. That's so we're not gonna do. Anyway, where was I? Oh my gosh. So they have one. Oh, yes. I wasn't surprised by that because there's a whole school in Accra, in the center of Accra, that does not admit Ghanaian students in Ghana. Yeah. So I'm not at all surprised by that. I did more research on other schools, and I think because a lot of the time, well, most of the time, like this opening a school is someone's like whole business, you know. And sometimes people rarely do rarely do it for the education of the kids, or like the fact that, you know, they're an educator and they care so much about like our future and things. No, it's a business. And the more exclusivity you can offer someone, or the more you can show someone that they're getting something better than what the average Ghanaian person is getting, you know, they're gonna jump on board. I always say that Ghanaians always look, well, some Ghanaians in Accra, I have to be politically correct, some Ghanaians in Accra seek out any opportunity to be more pretentious than they were yesterday. And the schools are a great way to see that. And I feel like a hypocrite because I'm one of them, because I definitely pay for school in dollars. But that's just because of what my educational goals are for my child. What else do I have to share about what I learned yesterday? The thing is, my cousin did point out to me that there are equally good schools that don't cost as much, but finding them for me has been very difficult because I go off of referrals and recommendations. I don't want to be the first one to go do it and find out the hard way why nobody else is doing it. So yeah, it's really important to me. So without that, I'm just like stuck. And if you stick with the big names, then you're also going to be stuck with a huge bill. But one thing I've also found, at least on a secondary school level, is some of these big name schools are not all that great, because the people whose children do go there, because they're well-to-do, there's really no pressure for them to excel in school and like go do anything to like change the trajectory of their family or whatever, because they got it. So really it's a status symbol, like a lot of other things here. Yeah, I thought I had more to share, but then again, I've been talking for like almost 30 minutes now. I got more makeup to do, so I feel like I should talk. Yeah, this blend is not like the best, but I don't have a mirror. Okay. But yes, so many interesting things to consider when, you know, coming here with a child or wanting to educate your child in Ghana. Is not what you would expect. You would expect that the curriculum is pro-Ghanaian. It's not. Not always. There are very few. I think I know someone who did find a school like that, and they teach the local languages, but it's way too far for, like, it's way too far, even further than like our current school now. So that was not gonna work for me. But yeah, for the most part, everyone is in a rush to follow the British or American curriculum because, you know, West is best. But I, like a lot of you probably, do not agree. Get some on the neck, I think. I don't know. I never put makeup on my neck, but now I'm like putting on makeup in front of you guys, and I feel like I have to. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's not really what you would expect. A lot of our things here are imported, and that's even down to our education, and like what our kids watch on TV. And the things that are indigenous and local, unfortunately, sometimes are a bit subpar, which is quite sad because I think we do have a lot to offer. You know, there are people who are getting their PhD in knowledge that we should be learning as children because it's ours. You know, things that grandparents teach their kids, you know what I mean? Things that you would sit at the feet of your grandparents to listen to. this is what people are learning at PhD level. But so it makes sense that people would import their subpar education systems here as if it works for them. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about that. So I think I have a really important decision to make as to whether or not to keep my daughter in that school, which is like 100 miles away, it feels like, or to try something closer. And I think the unfortunate part is that, you know, although there are great schools in my area, a lot of them are full because of COVID. They are taking less students. There's one that I'm really dying to get into in the Hutchville area, but COVID, so they're not accepting as many students. There's a school that I went to see the day before yesterday. I think that was a Thursday. But yeah, again, they're creating smaller classes. What have I done on my face? I don't know. Smaller classes. And yeah, the administrator did say that they're looking to open up a new nursery class because a lot of new parents have come wanting to enroll their children. I think she's an educator from Canada. North America. She's been all over and has come to open a school here. And I like that she's really on board with the learn through play style. I guess that's like Montessori style. I don't know. I'm new here to this parents educational thing. Very new. So yes, because she was telling me a lot of the parents here are concerned that their children are not getting homework at home and that the curriculum is not rigorous enough. I don't know, I feel like I missed something here. But yeah. I don't know what's happening. Because I don't have a mirror. Anyway. Alright, eyeliner. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that, because anything else would just be rambling and nonsense, and that's what we don't want on this channel. Only just useful, informative content and a bit of makeup for shaggy reasons. But yes, so that's all I got for you guys today. But I hope everybody's fine. And of course, if you want more information, send me an email and I'll create a newsletter for everybody who sends me an email about what they want to know, about, you know, what I've said. I always have the most difficult time doing my left eye because I've got I've got vision inequities. So my left eye is actually my stronger eye, but when I'm doing it, I can't open it, of course, so this one has to do the work. I meant to put eyeshadow. Anyway, this is where we're at. Anyway, yeah, so send me an email to the Michelle Knedu. I'll write the email here. I haven't used it in a really long time, but I will definitely send you an email back with the newsletter. So let's do this. How about you send me an email at Villadiaspora@gmail.com. That's the email address for my guest house. And since I'm telling you about the guest house, let me tell you more. The guest house is of course, guest house, a co-living area, a co-living space for people of the diaspora who are looking to move to Ghana, but may not have family in Ghana or may not have family in Accra, but want to live in Accra and see what that would be like. So yes, if you want more information on that too, put that in the subject line. But if you want more details as to who exactly I was talking about and which schools I was talking about, send me an email. The subject line should be, I don't know, inside scoop, or like what's the tea, or whatever, something to grab my attention so I know exactly what you're sending me. And if you want information about Villadiaspora, please do send me an email with the subject line Villadiaspora. So I'm gonna spare you all the rest. I didn't do my mascara. I'm gonna spare you all the rest because this is not a makeup channel. But it has been fun talking with you guys as I get ready today. I hope to not do it more of this kind of content. I thought I would enjoy it, but or maybe I'm new to this. But yeah, I'll also try to like pull the audio and put it in a podcast, so that, because I know like there's some, let's say, men out there, and some women who prefer not to watch people do their makeup on YouTube. So I hope to like pull that audio, because I feel like I did drop a lot of like really interesting information that I didn't know, and I know a lot of people might benefit from. So yes, stay tuned for that. I'll try my hardest to figure that out for you guys and gals. But yeah, in the meantime, please do like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who is like at their wit's end, like I was, trying to figure out like, okay, what's it like? Okay, now I've decided to move to Ghana. What do I do about educating my kids? Yeah, and if you want more content like this, do let me know, and I will be sharing everything I'm learning here, because I'm not selfish. Anyway, signing off now to like go spray my face with whatever this is and to do some of my lips. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share, comment, send me an email if you want the inside scoop and a tea, or if you want more information on Villadiaspora, or just to say hey, because I don't mind, my phone is dry. Anyway, thank you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.